love a good crash out, which like didn't even know what that was until lately.
Also, I just got goosies from. I don't know why. I think I'm like preemptively crashing out before the podcast on crashing out. But yeah, we had to. I think it was a teen came in and they said, I've been crashing out lately. And I was like,
what's that?
Huh?
Yeah.
Like, are you on TikTok, Caroline? And I was like, not really. I have
follow at Soul Living Counseling.
Yeah. I have that TikTok, which most of that's like professional
it's
or
all
professionals. Yeah. But looking up the definition of crash out, I was like, oh.
Yeah.
So it's essentially like what we would call it like wilding out.
Yeah.
Or wildin'.
So I looked it up, and I actually didn't realize it's originally like AAVE vernacular, so we have to give credit where credit is due. It's obviously, it's originally like African-American vernacular English, so it's coming, I mean, it's a lot of like cultural appropriation now that's like in the mainstream media. But when I looked it up, it said it is an emotional outburst or shutdown caused by prolonged stress or burnout. I should have also Urban Dictionary'd it, now that I think about it.
Well, if you have the time to Urban Dictionary it, want to drop it in the comment section and educate.
Or our Gen Z listeners.
Yeah.
What is your idea? 'Cause I do think that like a crash out's different for everybody.
Yeah.
But we've like noticed it so much like in the media and in sessions. We were like, okay, we got to make this podcast episode. We got to talk about it.
It's time.
So
it's
here
relevant.
we are.
Yeah. So crashing out and breaking down and feeling all the things. How are we doing?
You just watched me have one. So, yeah. So like when I think about crashing out, for me, it's never like a monumental issue for me. Like I think that everyone has their own way of kind of defining it. When I think of like the phrase crash out, it's like a minor thing that's like the side effect of like a bigger concern. So like for me today, I went from like a very intense meeting to a research meeting where I felt very intellectually disadvantaged.
That's a great way to put that.
I'm on a research team where there's a lot of like very high level like designers and engineers, and they're brilliant, but I kind of felt like the dumbest person in the room. And so I like went from something very emotionally charged to then feeling very inadequate. And like afterwards I was just like, oh, well, there I go. So that would be my last crash out when I was like, I know nothing. Or we just talked about this, the monthly, I'm a bad therapist.
Yeah.
Imposter syndrome.
I had that crash out. I actually pulled out our textbook for interpersonal relationship skills.
Oh,
and I was
that.
Yeah.
But yeah. And then, this week. So for me, I think like a crash out is just like going on a tangent and like feeling a lot of self-doubt at the same time.
Okay.
And I usually have some kind of physical side effects too.
Yeah.
Like it's like I've had 3 shots of espresso and I can't stop.
You start vibrating.
I start vibrating.
Yeah.
So then I have no train of thought and executive dysfunction gets loud.
Yeah.
But like earlier this week, I had like another like really big rant, and I had like the same thing where I felt like I was vibrating. I was talking to a friend, and it was right after. Bear with me. It was right after Taylor Swift got engaged. And there's also, do you watch The Summer I Turned Pretty?
Of course.
I've asked you this before. Okay.
Yeah.
She was comparing Taylor Swift's ring to Belly's ring.
What?
And I've actually seen this in the media a lot. And there was a lot of discussion on like, well, this is a big enough weight and this is too small and this is too big. And I lost it. I don't know why, but I was like, why are we assigning value and superiority to the weight of a carrot on someone else's hand? And I was like, maybe Belly loved it. It's not my style. Maybe she loved it. Yeah. Maybe, Taylor Swift can buy millions of giant rocks. This one is just for her. Great. But I had this like major rant and I was like, why is everyone so judgmental? It's not yours. So why do you care?
You don't have to look at it every single day.
And I'm like, if you want that, like Cristiano Ronaldo just proposed with like
that was a big one too.
40 million carat. Whoa.
Yep.
But people are like comparing actually those 3, a Belly, Taylor Swift, and then I really wish I knew her name and I feel bad that I don't. Cristiano Ronaldo's fiance. And I just went on a tangent and I was like, why are we like this? Why are people like this?
Or no ring at all.
Right. I'm like, if it's not yours, who cares?
Yeah.
So that was my last one. My last several. What about you?
When I think of my latest crash out, so of course, like I'm in the midst of wedding planning, and
It's like one big crash out.
and I think my crash out was I had this venue, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna like go early. It's a year, whatever. Gonna get ahead of the schedule, do all the things. So I essentially started actually before we were engaged, and I can say that because all the people in our lives now know that like I had our wedding website done before I had him on his knee. But so I go in, I'm like, okay, the venue, we're going to do it. This is what I want. Freaking booked out for a year.
I was going to say, were they like, we're booked for the next 4 years?
I genuinely was just like shook. And that was my crash out of like, what? And then I heard that people were getting venues before they're engaged. And then I majorly crashed out because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm behind on everything. I'm not going to get what I want. I was able to find a day that is going to be beautiful and perfect, and I'm so excited. But that was my latest crash out, which is honestly the idea of timelines with planning this special day where the biggest part of the whole day is like that you just end up with the person that you love and everything else is bonus. But also the expectation for everything else to be happening.
Yes.
And the fact that you're supposed to be planning this before you're even engaged.
Yeah. You never win. You can never win. And you can never be like doing enough.
Yeah. Or people saying like, well, that date's going to fill up real quick. We want you to go ahead and put a down payment on today. And I'm like, you're not going to force me into a decision.
And then maybe like the second person you tell your date, they're like, well, that's my second cousin twice removed's birthday.
I haven't had that happen yet.
We had that happen to us. And it was like, well, this is someone's sister's or brother's birthday. I was like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care.
It's like,
happy birthday. Happy birthday.
This will be a celebration for them if they would like to look at pictures.
It's like, happy birthday for them. Valid crash out. Yeah. Very valid.
That was my latest crash out.
What I'm trying to kind of learn is I'm going to welcome them.
Welcome. Embracing the crash out.
Yes. Yeah. So, and I think that, again, like we wanted to really bring up this topic after seeing it get so popular on like TikTok, Reels, and just like with our clients. Yep. I even noticed clients in our generation, so the millennials, talking about crash outs, but they also don't know what it means. It's also like a fun rapport building of like, what does this mean? Yeah. So I think it's like a great mental health context. And also, so statistics for like crashing out and mental health have increased in 43% in this last year based on like meta data. Wow. So if we've got that much of an increase, like, there's some legs to this. And when we think about crashing out and the increase that's happening, one, we're talking about it more. Love that.
Love that. And two, the world's just going crazy.
Yeah.
It's going wild.
It's doing something.
The world is crashing out with just all the change. All the change and all the things.
Yep.
Which, have we had a podcast on change?
No. Ooh, that'd be a good one. Change and control would be a good one.
Ooh, that is a good one.
Oof.
Okay. Side note. Squirrel brain moment.
My phone's over there.
Yeah.
Can you remind me to make a note of that?
Yeah, I will do my best.
I was about to say, ooh, both of our brains.
Maybe the goldfish might be running.
So if you hear this, can you comment wherever you see it
and remind us?
Hey, Sarah and Caroline, we want a podcast episode on control and change.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And we'll make that happen for you guys. Okay, so let's talk about why it's actually like a thing. So what is it? We talked about what it means of how, okay, we can be, you mentioned your crash out was like overstimulated and like vibrating.
Really overstimulated.
Yeah. Mine is typically shut down of like, I numb myself. I'm like,
you're in the lows.
No. Yeah. Yes. But it's our nervous system. We love talking about our nervous system and our vagus nerve. And it's essentially our body going into like fear response.
Yep.
Fight, flight,
freeze,
fawn, fib.
I always forget fib.
That one's a lot for, adults too, but we usually use that for kids for sure. But it's essentially our nervous system saying, hey, something's going on.
Too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I either have way too much on my plate right now, or the thing that you just put on my plate is scaring me.
Yeah.
And put me into a tailspin, into a crash out.
So obviously, like, it can be this idea of like being really overstimulated or just being like done, or like almost a catatonic response of like I'm paralyzed and I can't move, or even something like can't function or you overfunction. Yeah. And so I'm like the overcompensator. So like I will like do all the things all the time.
Yeah.
Because if I'm already like, well, if I'm already vibrating and I can't slow down, might as well get all of my to-do lists done.
See, I'm same way of like I overcompensate and overdo, but I do it in a very like no emotion base. Like, okay, here's what we're gonna do. I go into like brain
Shut
feelings
down.
turns off, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna fix stuff.
Yeah.
And then that can be its own battle.
That's true.
But so there's that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, crashing out
Yes.
isn't you falling apart,
No, not at all.
right? It's you hitting the edge of what's unsustainable
Yeah.
for too long.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think it's just like a good, like, I always talk about like our indicator lights in our car. This is when like our check everything light goes on.
Yeah.
Because I know for me, like a true crash out isn't like a major traumatic event. It's usually the result of like too many things for too long.
Yeah.
Because for me, like when I go through a major event, I go into my shell and I distance and isolate. So that's just like a different version.
Yeah.
But for me, like a crash out is just like, girl, you've been doing too much for way too long. And like we said, it's just like we've reached max capacity, and it's like the pinwheel of death on your computer, and then it just turns off.
Yeah. Or the Coke bottle. We always talked about that with kids of like you shake the Coke bottle and then at some point the top's going to explode. You can't just keep shaking without taking a moment for yourself.
Well, I also love that we both have like our very different versions of this too. And I think that's really helpful for people to hear, because when you notice that you're going into this like crash out mode, what clues do you kind of pay attention to? What do you notice that tell you that like, ooh, you might have missed this before? Yeah.
So mine definitely is, well, one, I start to feel sick of like, I get like almost cold like symptoms. And just to preface that with, I am not sick currently. I just had a very fun weekend with lots of yelling at a wedding. So this voice is
You've been highly social
due to socializing. But definitely I start to feel sick. I start to feel tired, fatigue. My heart rate goes all the way up, but it's almost like my body just completely like melts into itself. So it's almost like two completely different sides of the spectrum. And so then my brain just gets like me, and then it just goes blank. My eyes start to burn. I get the eye stuff. Yeah. Like when I'm wearing glasses, we know something's happening. And then crying. Yeah. I do a lot of like just crying, or at this point actually I've hit the point where like I get close to crying but no tears come out.
Like the glassy eye.
Yes. So I'm not even able to have a full fluid motion out of the eyeball. Yeah. That was a gross way of saying that. But it's like the welling up, and then my intrusive thoughts are just like they're very familiar. Sure. The inner critic is very loud. So that's
Jessica is loud.
Jessica. What about you?
I always look for like my cortisol cues. So I always think my hunger goes on sabbatical. Okay. Where like I lose my appetite completely. My sleep is, I don't have a hard time falling asleep, but I wake up exhausted all the time. So I don't have any energy. A lot of brain fog. And then I wouldn't call myself a high energy person or a low energy person. I'm just always just kind of like chill, kind of neutral.
Black cat.
Yes. Yes. Like I'm a extroverted introvert for sure. What is that, like ambivert? There's a word
omnivert
for it. I don't know if I'm thinking about when I was talking to my nephew about dinosaurs.
I was about to say omnivores.
There's a word for it. My goodness. But I also get like really high energy, which isn't like me. Like I'm not like a super like blah kind of person. I always kind of laugh that like my friend Rachel is really, really high energy socially. And usually when I start sounding like her, because that's just not like me at all, I'm like, ooh, I think there's too many cooks in the kitchen in my head. Yeah. So that's mine, like the uncharacteristic high levels of energy. It's not manic at all. It's just like me overcompensating and starting to short circuit a little bit.
Right.
But obviously those cortisol cues. Yeah. So, and I think it's helpful to think about like neurologically when we have these like crash outs. I mean, it is just like override in our nervous system, and it's like that like dorsal vagal state just shuts down, and it's like again like it's like your laptop. And it sounds like it's
right now
on a jetway.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it just stops working.
Yeah.
It's very similar to our brain, our nervous system.
Yeah. And, we talked about it's like that fear response. So it's that alarm of, okay, something is happening right now. And so a lot of us, we want to shove it back and be like, okay, we're good. Rub some dirt in it. Let's keep going. But if we do that, like our alarm's just going to keep ringing and ringing. And then it's going to cause other alarms to start going off. Because I heard something in a training and it said, you're extremely smart and intelligent, but your brain is not capable enough to convince you of a feeling that you're not having or that you are having, of like saying, okay, I'm feeling sad, but we're going to ignore it and the body's not going to follow in suit. Our brain's a powerful thing, but it cannot overcompensate for that part of our body. So making sure we take time for our body to sit in that. And
if we think about like our recent podcast episode about like somatic work and like regulating our nervous system, like as we talked about then, like you can't push it down. It just comes back tenfold. And I think that sometimes these crash outs are just like our mind and our body's ways of saying, hey, there have been things that have gone unchecked for a while. I need to tell you something now.
Right.
It's also not just like a cute Instagram or TikTok thing. No, it's not like so fun. It's like when we talked about highly sensitive people.
Yeah.
It's not like that. Oh, I'm so quirky. It's like, oh no, like,
no, these are real things.
Our nervous system is chit chatting with us.
We just have cute little words for them now.
Yeah, we do.
Instead of textbook words. So in this next point, hits pretty hard.
Yeah.
So we talk about productivity spirals, over functioning, people pleasing, ignoring our limits, and crash outs. Why does that happen? Why are we doing that?
So I think what I like to always think about, like when I talk to clients about crash outs recently, I always ask like what happens leading up to it. Because we always kind of identify there's some kind of like Sunday scary, some kind of lingering, looming something going on, whether it's like that decision fatigue or the startup fatigue or just like that paralysis of there's something happening or ongoing that I just feel like I'm not enough in. And we're just not able to move. But then all of a sudden something lights a fire under us and we're like, no, we got to go. We got to get this done. So like for me today, I had like a checkpoint getting ready for a major deadline and a big meeting. And I didn't want to think about it. But then all of a sudden it was here and it was like, ooh, we got to go. So I think that like sometimes we have that because we just want to do things well and do things right. But it's not on the timeline that works best for our body and our mind. Yeah. It's a little bit dissonant. What do you think?
Yeah. I'd say it's our attempt to control the non-controllables.
Yeah.
Of like, okay, I have a tab open for this one thing that I can't finish. Like for me right now, it's applying to school. So like I've done everything that I could do. Now it's in review and it's like they're accepting it or they're not. Hopefully they do, fingers crossed. But because I can't control that part and that fear that I have around that acceptance, I'm like, okay, I'm going to control every other little thing that I can to make up for this one thing that's like in the background, that's background noise of what's going on. So that's how I process it, even just like in my own life, but also understanding of like not giving ourselves time and space.
Well, it makes sense that like so many, that like 43% uptick of people searching crash outs, the world as a whole right now, there's just, you never know what's happening. Because I feel like when we were growing up, there would be like the Onion articles and like satire of like, this happened. And it would be something so off the wall in the news. You would be obviously like, oh, that's a tabloid. That's just false. It's just like a funny like narrative. But now it's like, oh no, these things are actually happening. And I think that now like a lot of us, whether it's just a state of the world or other things, like so much of the world seems so uncontrollable and there's so much powerlessness that's existing at the moment. It makes sense that there's more crash outs happening because people are just grasping for whatever control they can get.
Right. Yeah. So another little stat dropping. A Harvard health study found that chronic dysregulation shortens emotional recovery time by up to 30%.
Yeah, I believe it.
Meaning every time we have a crash out, it gets harder and harder to regulate after after that.
Yeah.
Especially if we're ignoring them.
Well, and the way that I like to think about it a lot is like a video game when you have like your stat bar of like your life.
Your health.
Yes. And it's one of those where like, so say you're playing a game where you have to like gather like little hearts to build it back up, but you don't want to stop whatever quest you're on in the game to go find more hearts. It's like, no, like you're literally just going to keep depleting that down further and further unless you just kind of deviate and rebuild. And so I think that stat, I mean, it's hit the nail on the head, is the more that we ignore, the more depleted we're going to get.
Right.
And then the louder these crash outs are going to be and the higher stakes and higher intensity they're going to become, which then just makes us feel completely out of control.
Right. And then we start to question, what's wrong with us? Are we broken? When in reality, we're not broken. There is nothing wrong with us. It's just that we've been ignoring our needs for so long. And our needs are like, hey, you got to pay attention to me right now.
So, okay. What is something that like you like to tell clients or yourself to really just decode, like, why is this happening? And what is this here? Like, what's the point behind this crash out?
Right. So typically when I work with a client, like the underlying question is, okay, what need is not being met, right? Of like checking in of, okay, there's something that we're not currently getting. What would that look like? So they'll be talking. And if I know that that's kind of where we're going, where we're headed, I'll say like, oh, okay. Be like, what do you think you need for that? Of like, and it's so simple. Or in that time, what did you think that you would need? Or what would have been helpful then? And then their mind goes to, okay, I don't know, what would have been helpful? Oh, I would have loved to have talked to a friend, or I would have loved to have been able to use my voice and set a boundary. And then through that, we can say, okay, where is that coming from? Like, what would that be helping with? Is it, control? Is it we're feeling out of control? Is it we need connection? Is it that we need rest? Because I would have loved to have had a nap just then. So that's usually my question is like, okay, what would have helped right then? Or what would help you right now?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. What about you?
I think we do a lot of like timelining sometimes to really decode like what's happening.
Yeah.
Because again, I'm a firm believer that a crash out doesn't just happen. And if you do feel like something is happening out of the blue and you try these things, it might be something else. It might be a health crisis. It might be a different kind of mental health crisis. So again, distinguishing between things like a crash out and maybe a manic episode or a crash out and a psychotic break. Like, again, very different things. So specifically when we're talking about a crash out, I love to do a few different things, but one of them being a timeline with clients of talk me through the weeks leading up to this. What was going on? What was in your head? What was on your plate? Who was in your life? There's usually warnings there. Like, okay, for example, if we were to take like me today, if you were to look at my last few weeks, it would be like, fair. It's bound to happen at some point. So I think that again, like there's always a precursor, or if that feels too black and white solutions focused, just depending on the client's style, I like to personify the crash out and be like, okay, if this was a thing, what's it look like? We can always empty chair it if it's in the chair with us. What is it wanting to tell us?
Love a good empty chair.
Right. Or like parts work of like, is this a manager? Is it a protector? Is it like a detective? Like, what is this, like, what role does this crash out have?
Right.
And what does it need from you? What would it have to say? I think that's also a great way because sometimes it's usually just saying like, slow down or you're doing enough or take a break or ask for help. So I think asking a lot of those things to decode it would be good.
Or asking about plant needs.
And we were just talking about this yesterday.
We just talked about, And like, as you were saying that, I was like, oh yeah, that too. Because I literally have a sticky note in my notes, like little thingy that I take notes on. And it's like, okay, check plant needs. And what a plant need is for anyone that's not us, essentially, is like, it's like water, rest, sunlight, movement and food. And like checking in on all of those things. Like I've had some clients come in and they're like, oh yeah, I've been eating like one meal a day for the past like 2 weeks. I'm like, okay, that
we gotta work on
that definitely affects our mental, physical, and emotional health and well-being. And so checking in with our plant needs too, of just even the basics of like our hierarchy of needs that are not actually quote unquote basic.
Right.
Like they're very important.
Well, it's like reminding yourself again, like Maslow's hierarchy. We cannot tackle your socio-emotional health if we're not tackling physical health, like you said. I even think about in grad school, that was such a paper shredder of the soul experience. I remember my plant needs were really hard to maintain. I feel like all of us in grad school really struggled to maintain our basic needs, which just kind of, I think the program kind of failed us in that way because no one ever really told us to do that, you know. But like I even had alarms on my phone of like every X amount of hours. Yeah. I had like a lunchtime alarm. I had snack alarms. So it's one of those where, like, that's okay. Like if someone feels like they need a little bit more assistance to make sure your plant needs are met, you're fine. You're okay. Like it's going to be all right. And it's not bad. Like you haven't failed. You just have a lot of tabs open that's making it hard to remember those basics.
Right. So when we talk about like a crash out, a lot of times we're looking at it as, well, I'm not going to say a lot of times. There's a 50-50. Sure. There's half of like, ooh, it's a funny thing. Like so it's cute. And then the other half, it's like, oh my gosh, something's really, truly wrong. I need medication. I need like to go to therapy 5 times a day. And there's like this negative connotation on it. So instead of like putting that judgment on there, we talk all about how like feelings don't have judgment. They're not good, bad, they just are, of like looking at it as information, figuring out what is our body and our brain and our heart trying to tell us right now.
It's a message.
Yeah, instead of like shoving it under the rug and just like pushing off as like either a joke or of saying like, okay, I'm broken.
Sure.
When you're not.
And people can think about it as, I mean, I feel like most folks, especially on social media, like you said, it's like this skeleton in the closet, really shameful. Or on the other end, it's like, ooh, quirky. Yeah. And it doesn't mean anything. It just means I'm crazy or things like that. I feel like a crash out means someone has been trying to send you a message for a while. They started with a text, then they called you, then they FaceTimed you, then they sent you letters. It's like people coming after you with bills. They're escalating how they're talking to you every single time. Yeah. But the crash out is like when finally they say, hold on, I really, really need to tell you this thing. I'm going to construct a billboard right in front of your face overnight. I feel like that it's just a message that you have not received for whatever reason, but it needs to come through.
Right. Oof. That one hit.
It's a tough one.
Wow. Just got goosies.
Oh, thank you.
So like we talked about needs, meeting those needs, sitting with them, being like, okay, what am I needing for myself right now? And just naming it. We say all the time, name it to tame it. Of like, we have to understand what we're really looking for in order to move forward with that and in order to like help ourselves and care for ourselves well.
Absolutely.
So whether that's like, okay, I need to go and just walk outside because I need sunlight and I need exercise and movement for my endorphins, or the complete opposite of I need rest right now. I need to be able to lay down and watch The Summer I Turned Pretty, which talk about a crash out. I watched the episode, the latest episode last night, and I was in bed and I went, huh.
A lot of people cried with that one.
Cried? Really?
Yeah.
No, I didn't hit the cry. I was just...
Honestly, enough people cried that I was like, am I good?
Should I be crying?
That kind of happens to me a lot, though. I just think we're built different with our job.
Yeah.
But no, absolutely. Or even like that, ooh, I'm going to have a drink that's not caffeinated. I'm putting myself on blast with that one.
As we have, what, 2, 3? How many unfinished?
I finished my coffee this morning.
Okay.
But I still have one more open, Alani, in the fridge.
Yes. And yesterday, Sarah told me, she said, yeah, I'm switching to coffee because now that I'm drinking Alani, I feel like heart palpitations. I was like, yeah, that's maybe something to consider for our
new thing. So I also have a cardiac condition, so I probably shouldn't do that regardless. But, but I also think it's, again, like we're honing in on our nervous system because, again, that crash out is just the big nervous system dysregulation and those socio-emotional repercussions and the messaging, and reminding yourself that there might be something in your nervous system that we just haven't touched on in a while, like, friend, drink some water or get more than 5 hours of sleep in a night. Do your best if you can. It could just be like you don't have to, there's nothing broken in your nervous system. Right. We just need to give it a little bit more support, and that's okay.
Yeah. Time and space.
Yeah.
Body keeps the score. Trauma is stored in the body.
It's all like our buzzwords of phrases. Well, and I think that okay, so when you see that people are going through this, what do you think they tell themselves when they want to numb it and push it down? Because I know I've seen you're being dramatic, it's in your head, you're being too much.
Yeah. I think definitely that, invalidating ourselves of like, you're being dramatic, you're fine. I hear a lot of like, it's fine, I'm okay, everything's fine. And I catch myself saying this a lot,
Yeah.
like, it is what it is kind of situation. And of course, there are things that are outside of our control that's different.
Yeah.
But when we're talking about ourselves, where we have the ability to help ourselves and we're like, okay, yeah, no, I'm really like struggling right now and I'm extremely tired and hungry and I feel like I just want to like become a puddle, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing. And then a lot of, well, you know, I just can't focus on me right now.
And just like the
there's,
shoulds.
There's a lot going on right now. Yeah, a should. Should's a good one. Of like, I should be doing better. I should be, this shouldn't even, this shouldn't be an issue. So, yeah, all
like,
of that.
I should just get this done. I should just go do that. And I think it's one of those where it's, I mean, again, for thinking about statistics, clients who track their like emotional crash patterns with like either journaling or like voice notes, they report a 25 to 35% faster recovery time. And I think like we've talked about with like just being aware, kind of timelining things, that awareness is key because again, like we can spot the warning signs enough to know like exactly what needs are being unmet and then we can recover from it. Yeah. We're addressing everything without labeling it. And that means we can move through it a little bit better.
Yeah. And for all of our parents out there, this is a little kid moment because I feel like we don't always talk about the kiddos, but this starts in childhood.
It does.
Like the first thing that I will do with a client, I think literally day one, I'll have to report building, of course. A little Jenga and beating them at some Uno. You know, gotta hit them with that.
We're so good at Uno now.
Yeah, honestly, I play people and they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're so good." And
I say I do play people like outside of work sometimes.
And I know all the rules. Like, are we gonna stack? Are we gonna not stack? All the things. But the first thing we'll do is we'll identify like warning signs of, okay, what's our body trying to tell us? And the way that I'll describe it is I'll actually write like a math problem. I'll do 5 and I'll leave a space and I'll do 5 equals and then a blank. And I say, can you solve this math problem? Yeah. And they all look at it really long time. They're like, no. And I said, well, how come? They're like, well, because I don't know what I'm doing in it. And I said, you're exactly right. Yeah. And so then I'll add a plus sign. I'll be like, can you solve it now? And they're like, it's 10. I'm like, good job. High five. But it's showing like, if we don't know what's going on, we cannot help ourselves. We cannot, quote unquote, solve the problem. Not that there's a problem, but it's more just like, how can we lean into what we need? Yes. And so recognizing those warning signs and being more proactive with it before we hit full state is going to be so helpful.
When I think that like, and I love how this can kind of tie into our last episode about like sensitivity, is we need to call in. We don't want to call them out. We want to bring them in. We want to bring in the people who say they don't need emotions. They just need to fix things. Yeah. And we need to call in the fixers here. You cannot fix a crash out without acknowledging your emotions. Yeah. I wish I could tattoo that everywhere. If you are experiencing those like big physical side effects, those big emotional side effects, you cannot fix it without acknowledging that you have feelings and they are talking to you. I was actually just talking to my spouse about this the other day. I was like, hey, your body's yelling at you. Yeah. What are we going to do about it? And of course he's like, I want to go to Home Depot and buy more plants. Sick. And I'm like, okay, we're at our limit for indoor plants. So there's outdoor plants now. Yeah. But it's one of those where I'm like, hey, like we cannot quote unquote fix this crash out and we can't listen to what these messages are without acknowledging and validating and at least just like sitting in that emotion for a little bit. Yeah. But it's okay.
Yeah. It's okay. It's actually good. Yeah. It's a good thing to have feelings.
Feelings, again, like add context. They add data. They just make it more realistic.
Make it more human.
Yes. And getting over a good crash out, you can't do it without the emotion side.
Yeah. Love that. Okay. So what if the crash isn't here to teach you something, but just to give you a break? So like when you have a crash out, what does it like tell you or what has it taught you?
I think mine's normally like I need a break. Okay. So I know like for me with like just getting like that like vibration. Yeah. That's just not me at all. I've never really been like a hyper human. I'm just kind of hanging out.
You vibe.
Yeah, I'm just kind of vibing. But I think like for me, the crash out's normally telling me to like slow down, take a break. Yeah. And a good way to kind of differentiate that, I'm going to really call myself out here, is a lot of the time when I'm in that space, I always say like, I need to go for a run.
Ooh,
Oh, I know. I said that not even 2 hours ago. I'm like, I need to go for a run. I need to go move. Keep in mind, I ran competitively for a long time and I don't anymore because running is just like not good for my body. It's actually really not good for most adult women.
Actually, walking at an incline is technically better.
I love to go for walks. It's one of my favorite things, but I never say I want to go for a walk. It's always, I need to go for a run. I want to go for a run. So for me, a good way to like counterbalance that is to give myself like 20 to 30 minutes. And if I still want to go move, go for a walk. But 9 times out of 10, I want to go to sleep at the end of that time limit. So I think that's like a good barometer. And so I think that most of mine taught me like slow down and just find a better way to balance whatever's going on. Or it's usually like okay, how have you been going about this? It's not working. We need to pivot in some way.
Well, and it makes sense because typically you go into overstimulation mode with your vagus nerve. So it's like that, the opposite reaction that you're supposed to do of like, if you feel like we're super hyper, then actually we're probably needing the complete opposite. We're needing rest. Yeah. Whereas if we're feeling like we just want to lay down and like snuggle up with a blanket, that actually might be that instead we need to move our bodies.
Which is tough because like I like to be busy. That's just me. I like to have... I don't like to be over busy, but I like to like have a very like enriched life that can just get too busy really fast. So that's kind of my side. But what about you? I'm really curious.
So I actually wrote this down that just because I can keep pushing doesn't mean I should or that it's helpful. So like for me, it's that idea of, okay, productivity is something that, you know, we have a podcast on that. But it's something that the world says like, that's a great thing. Like you just got to keep pushing. You got to keep doing it. So for a very long time, I mean, I flippin' played sports
Division 1 athletics
with a sports hernia because I literally thought that it's that I needed to go to the bathroom, and so I just kept pushing when in reality that entire muscle was ripped off the bone, and then like my shoulder twice, and I just kept pushing, and then in reality I was tearing up my body. And like I was tough enough, I was strong enough, I had the mental capacity to like do it. But that didn't mean it was helpful, and it didn't mean that it was good for me, and it didn't mean that it was something that I should have done. So for me, it's that like, okay, I know that I can keep going, but I also have to give myself space to say like, I don't want to right now, or I don't have to right now. Of like, this is my world, this is my space. I can decide to take a break. I can decide to not keep pushing, and I need to probably tattoo that on my forehead because I still struggle with that.
Well, and I think that like we do need to bring in like the systemic parts too, and I think that this really kind of envelopes a lot of our podcast episodes. Is like we said, like we are in a world that's a little bit more chaotic, a little bit more unstable right now, depending on who you ask. And it makes us want to control more. We also have hustle culture, toxic positivity culture, capitalism, all of these different factors.
Capitalism.
Oh my gosh, I know. Then obviously like we have identity concerns and like, so many things. So I think that we are currently in a world that is constantly asking us to chase something. And again, if you have that personally, professionally, and everything in between, that's going to lead to more of these crash outs. So maybe sometimes like these crash outs are telling us like, whoa, we just need to slow down. We need to figure this out. Or like, what is influencing us to go at this pace for so long? Because sometimes it is internal, absolutely, but there's usually an external factor too of like, oh, I need to do this right. I need this to look a certain way. I need this to be perfect, or I can't let people down. I can't ask for help. There's just so many systemic considerations to this crash out. Because I think there is a reason why there's an uptick in 2025 for sure. And I'd be interested to see like a breakdown with age and gender too. I'm wondering how you feel about this. I had a conversation about this years ago with my now husband, and because we talked about how I was under so much pressure and stress planning a wedding, but the second we were married, the stress moved to him. Because for me, I felt a lot of pressure to like create this perfect day and this perfect experience for a lot of people. But then it was interesting when it seemed like the pressure of a healthy, happy marriage and life then fell to him afterwards. So be interesting to see like those crash outs, even with like marriage of like, ooh, if you have a man and woman getting married who have like somewhat traditional gender roles. I don't like to consider my marriage that. I think it's more of a partnership. But again, he's a man and I'm a woman, and that does exist. Be interested to see like if others had that experience of like the bride felt the pressure to make things perfect and the crash outs happened in engagement. But then in marriage, a lot of it fell on the groom.
Yeah. Well, and and I think this brings in the biblical side as well for those that resonates with, of like when you get married, you're in the Bible, it says like you become one flesh, and like the man is supposed to lead the household in Christ and in all the things, because he's the leader of the church,
leader of the pack.
Yeah, essentially, of like, so the amount of pressure that, especially in religion, I can only speak to Christianity really on this, of the Christian faith, is like, okay, now you're the leader of this family. And so like, okay, everything before that, cool. And of course with that there comes the partnership part. It's not like I'm telling you what to do, that kind of thing. But it is a lot of pressure of like, now that power and that leading of this does become like the man's quote unquote duty with that.
All of that like gives me like a physical response. I could like feel myself needing to be like, okay, stand up straight. Don't let my shoulders get too high. So I think that like if you're experiencing all of that pressure that leads up to this crash out. So if people are listening to this and thinking about their own experiences and knowing like, ooh, these are my red flags, I can see them, or I've seen them in the past. When you're wanting that control and you're just wanting more like power where you feel like it might not exist, swap it with compassion. And instead of like, I just want to control this, how can I exercise compassion in this situation? Does that mean like, oh, like I don't have to get it done right now? Or maybe I do have to get it done right now, but then later, like I don't have to second guess it.
Right.
And switching that need for control to just adding a little bit more compassion to it.
Yeah. Taking the judgment off of it.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. And also like telling yourself you're enough. Like literally you are enough. What you have to give is more than enough for the situation. And that's a hard one.
It is. Well, especially because like figuring out how you're enough is so individualized. I was actually talking to clients this week about like realistic affirmations and how the I'm beautiful, I'm smart, for a lot of people that just doesn't resonate. But for some it's like, I deserve to wash my hair twice this week. Or like I deserve to take time to move my body in the morning. Because a lot of people won't resonate with some, but others, like we just got to be specific on how we exercise that compassion. And
Brene Brown's writing a permission slip to yourself.
Yep, exactly.
I have permission to blank. Okay, so I feel like we started on this high, and then as it's gone down, we're like
coming down.
Yeah,
I feel like that happens with most of our episodes.
It does. We come in hot, and then by the end, we're like, and here we are.
Yep, here we go.
No, but that's great. And holding space for yourself. And if you're a therapist listening to this, of like just creating a space where that client can just be. And like hearing it and saying like, okay, nice. I mean, you even brought up an example of something you had to say that was very scary. You brought it to your counselor, therapist. Those words are interchangeable. I say them.
Episode 2.
Yeah. And they were like, okay. It's like, oh, awesome. So there's no judgment on this. There's no need for me to like have strong like for or against emotion. Instead, it just is. And like creating that. Yeah.
Oof. It's funny. I think about the amount of times I've like talked to kids about like slow your roll and like their stoplight. What if adults did that just as much? Of like when they notice they're just like escalating in intensity and they're leading towards this crash out. If we just gave ourselves time and space to pause, I think that could do a lot. Or if like the pause was ingrained into our routine or schedule.
Body scans. That's when a nice little body scan might come in.
Well, I mean, there's so many different people where they feel like they can't pause, whether it's because of identity, or like their profession, or just like their day-to-day
environment.
Life roles. And so finding whatever that looks like for you. I know like for me, like sometimes in between sessions, like I'll go and I'll wash my hands. Obviously like if I'm working with kids, you bet your bottom dollar I'm gonna do that, especially right now. There's a lot of goo going around. But sometimes it's just so grounding to have that experience of like, nope, I'm gonna wait, I'm going to, and I even like switch warm and cold water when I do it, just to ground yourself and take that second, and that's like 30-40 seconds of my day.
And the bathroom's the perfect place to do it, because no one's gonna be like, why are you going to the bathroom?
Right. And the fan is on, so there's like a little bit of white noise.
Yeah.
Like, it's great.
Yeah. So if you ever need just a space,
Use bathroom.
use the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like social situations, if I'm feeling overwhelmed and overstimulated, I gotta go to the bathroom.
Yep.
And I will like literally give myself a timeout for just a little bit, just to be able to have a moment.
Another one I talk to, especially with like busy parents, is when they're brushing their teeth. It's like when you are sitting there just brushing your teeth, a lot of people just zone out to oblivion.
Yeah.
Just like be aware of how you're doing. Give yourself some love, compassion, whatever you need.
I just had a thought.
Yeah.
I wonder if you remember those they might still have them. The toothbrushes that played the music.
Yes.
For how long? If like that was at some point like,
oh my gosh, like
could that be regulating too?
Yeah.
Of like you're starting your day and you're ending your day with a song that you really like because your toothbrush is playing it. We gotta bring those back.
Like,
we gotta buy some for you
I
here.
don't know why I just thought of like hit clips. It's not a toothbrush.
Oh yeah, the ones you little stuck in the little thing. Oh, I used to like squirrel out for those things. Or maybe and like all of them.
Picking a song and being like, I'm gonna give myself the length of this song.
Yeah.
To just pause, especially like when you're driving. Go for it. Why not?
Meanwhile, we sit and drive in silence.
Yeah, we do. But that's our way. And just like at the end of the day, like reminding yourself that crashing out does not mean something's wrong with you. It just means that something might need to change around you, within your relationships. You're not broken. I feel like we say it every episode. But
it's important.
It's so true and it's so important. And we live in a world where love that these conversations are being had, but they can make people feel like there's a lot of things wrong with us. Yeah. Like when we were taking a diagnostics class in grad school and we diagnosed ourselves with everything in the DSM. Yeah. Awareness is great, but sometimes we can attack ourselves with it. So just remember that like being aware and like having these crash outs, one, makes you human. I'm sorry. But it just happens. But we can be aware of what's going on and just the other factors at play.
Yeah.
Give yourself some love.
Give yourself some love. And once again, Couch Combos is not a substitute for therapy. If you want to work with us, we would love to work with you guys. Yeah. We have a new counselor on staff, Sarah. We got the go ahead in the last one to say also. But again, she's so great. She's amazing. She's seeing the kiddos, parents, you guys. Especially I know school starting.
And I feel like a lot of people that listen to this know us personally. And I know I've had some people say like, I really want to go see you, but I can't. Yeah. Because I also know Caroline because I know you. Right. Now you have an option. Because again, like Sarah's very separate. Yeah. You can go see her. She's really brilliant. She's lovely.
Phenomenal. So we love her. So www.soulhavengeorgia.com. Again, if you are feeling like you're in immediate danger, please contact 988-911 or visit your local emergency facility.
Yeah. And then catch you back for the next one on control and change.
Control and
Look
change.
At that. We remembered it.
Look at that. And the next one's already done.
And also, like, you know what? If you feel like you're having a crash out, okay. Yeah. Have a good crash out.
Right.
See what it says. We'll try again tomorrow.
They have these little mini pots at Hobby Lobby that you can buy for 99 cents. Oh, yeah. You can go grab one of those, just throw it on the ground. Yeah. Or ice in a bathtub.
I keep a hammer locked in our office for that. We smash them. Oh, I've also smashed ice with hammers with clients.
Beautiful. There you go. Find a hammer and some ice or go smash it. Follow us on all the social medias. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, all the things. Like and subscribe. But we love you guys. We will see y'all for episode 21.
Yay! Yay!